Hello and welcome to your Week 3, Day 4 lecture. Please take notes today as this information will not only be on the quiz for tonight's class, but it will also be relevant for this upcoming group project. You will be writing emails to both your group members and to Dr. Johnny White, and so you want to make sure that you understand how professional emails work. As I mentioned, email is the main subject of the lecture today. We're going to cover all 6 components of emails. We'll start first with the email subject line. Subject lines need to be as specific as possible. The person who is reading them needs to be able to determine whether or not they should continue reading based simply off of the subject line. You all know what it feels like to get an email with a vague subject line and you open it and you realize that you did not need to even open it in the first place. You don't want to waste people's time like that, so be as specific as possible in your subject line. Additionally, you want to always fill the subject line out. Keep in mind, if you leave it blank, then a lot of the times it will go into the recipient's spam folder. After your subject line is your salutation. Salutations are words like dear so-and-so, or to whom it may concern, or hi blank. You want to make sure that your salutation is just quick and to the point. Dear is totally fine. Hi is totally fine. Try to avoid the cheeky ones. If it's a really professional email, then you use a colon and you'll use their titles as well. So Dear Director Kelly or Dear Dr. White, both of those would be followed with colons. The rule for responding to email, so say you've already had the initial exchange where they email you, you email them back, they email you again, then the rule is that you respond with their first or last name in your first sentence rather than saying dear over and over again. So in this case, thank you, Brittany. This is a situation where you would put it as the response, put the salutation in the response, essentially. In your intro and your body, the main point and the main takeaway is to keep it as brief as possible. So a quote right here is, be bold, be fast, get to the point right away. The best email communication is simple and clear. You want to make it expedient for your reader. So this is about the size of a good email. The general rule is to keep emails about the size of a screen. And I do realize that everyone's screens are different, but I'm thinking about the size of a computer screen. Try to avoid having too much unnecessary scrolling for your readers. The format itself, everything is going to be justified on the left side. There's no need to justify it on the right because emails are not considered super formal documents. Your font style, just use the one that's included in your email itself. There's no need for you to go out and choose a specific font. You want to keep it, the sans serif, Calibri, or whatever comes with the email. Avoid emoticons and make sure to carefully edit your message itself. Use whitespace additionally in between each one of your paragraphs. And then last but not least is the conclusion to your email. Your conclusion should be short, wrap it up really quickly, and remember my general rule, every single conclusion in tech writing will have a call to action to it. You're not just going to randomly email someone without any kind of point, right? So you want to tell them exactly what you need them to do as a result. If you're emailing, say after meeting someone at the career fair, then your call to action would be to request an interview. If you're emailing an instructor asking for a meeting, then your call to action will be, let me know what times work the best for you. Whatever it is, you do need a call to action in your conclusion and make it very clear. There's no need for them to have to guess. I already talked about the format of an email. This one's blurry anyway, but you can see short, quick, to the point. Some additional tips. The general rule for replying to workplace emails is that you have 24 hours to respond to an email. I like to give it 48 hours because I think 24 kind of leads to this weird culture of having to be continuously connected to your devices. But in industry, the rule is 24 hours. Avoid using reply all. I know that it's super annoying when I'm checking my work email to see all the reply alls from people responding to a department email. Keep it to yourself. There's no need for you to respond to every single person that's included on an email unless you're asked to do so. Avoid all caps always. Anytime that you use all caps in writing, it seems like you're yelling at someone, unless of course you're using them in to aid in document design with headings. But you want to avoid using all caps when you're writing. Limit your exclamation marks. So the rule for tech writing is to limit exclamation marks to 1 per document. Try to avoid them in general. That's my rule. That's what I kind of tend to follow. There's ways for you to convey your enthusiasm without including 5 exclamation marks after a sentence. And please check your attachments. If you attach something to the document, make a note, or if you tell someone that you attach something to the document, make a note to triple check that you've actually attached it. And a lot of emails nowadays will tell you if you forgot to attach something. Review CC and BCC. CC means carbon copy. It means that there are other people who are not directly included in the conversation between you and the email recipient, but they're involved in some kind of way. So I like to CC my department chair to my emails with students because she might be involved in a specific situation. BCC is blind carbon copy. It means that the people who are in the BCC are completely hidden from the recipient. So say I'm having a conversation with my department chair and I BCC someone to it. That means my department chair is not going to know who's BCC'd to it. Be really careful and be ethical with BCC. Only blind carbon copy someone to an email if you're not doing anything, I guess, like kind of shady behind the scenes. I think of three-way calling from the 90s. Your workplace email tone, you need to be very careful with how you write in an online space. It's very hard to control tone when texting, when emailing, when IMing. So one of the ways to prevent yourself from doing that is to, of course, avoid those exclamation marks and kind of punitive language. But also you guys can see 2 examples here of very passive-aggressive sentences. I tried to access the link to the opposing viewpoints database you recommended, but it won't go through. How am I supposed to complete this assignment? So if I, as an instructor, were to get that sentence in the email, I would feel attacked. And you don't want anyone to feel attacked as they're reading through your information. Here's another one, very passive-aggressive. Sorry for submitting the components of the internship application separately. The requirements were really hard to find on your website, and I just now realized I hadn't submitted one of them. So if I were an employer and I got that as an email from someone who is applying for my job, I would not hire them, just simply for that email that is passive-aggressive and slightly attacky. Avoid something called flaming. Flaming is when you send an email when you're angry and your email ends up being full of loaded language that's slightly attacky, language that you do not want to use. If you're feeling angry after, receiving a certain grade on an assignment, or you're having trouble accessing an employer's website or anything like that, give yourself, draft the email in the way that you feel angry. Do whatever you'd like to, get it out there, and then go back the next day, wait 24 hours, go back the next day, make your edits, and most likely you're going to be able to change it so it's a lot less attacking. And that leads me to my next point. You do not have control over the final audience of your email. I already talked about BCC. Your email can be forwarded to so many different people. So the rule for this is to never send anything private or confidential. That would be for more of an in-person conversation, because you don't know where your email will end up. That being said, there is this kind of cool feature in Gmail that has something called a cancellation period. So I've set mine up to wait. I think the maximum is 1 minute. I might be wrong about that. But you can set an email to wait, to delay sending by 1 or 2 minutes. So if you do send an email and immediately have kind of regret for sending it, then you can go and cancel it through Gmail. So I do recommend doing something like that if you're prone to sending emails where you might not be proud of the content. At the end of the email, I'll see your email signature. I do recommend composing your own signature. You guys have seen mine on my email. It helps with personal branding that we talked about at the beginning of the quarter. In your email signatures, what I would include is your name, your major, your school. Some people will include their phone numbers. It's up to you if you want to include that in a professional sphere. your LinkedIn or your website, your e-portfolio. Some people will include a photo, and some people will include icons to their social media links, like if you have a business Instagram or anything like that. You can design your email signature on websites like Canva or WiseStamp. Those are two great tools, but there's a lot of ways that you can create your own email signature. I do recommend having one. Some additional resources that are plugins. Streak or Boomerang are great for you to kind of install. You can, with these resources, you can choose when to send emails. So say you're a night owl and you compose an email at 1 a.m. and you don't want your employer to see that you composed it at 1 a.m. You can install one of these plugins and they will send it for you the next morning during business hours. Clearbit is another great resource. You can download it and it helps you find who to get in touch with at a specific company. So if you're looking for a job, this could be a really helpful resource for you. And Grammarly is my favorite. Grammarly is a kind of updated spell check for every single website that you use. I use Grammarly. It clues me in whenever I have a spelling or grammatical error. It's a pretty helpful resource in general. So that is all that I have for you today. Please use the email requirements that I went over as you compose your emails, not only to your group mates, but to me and to Dr. White as you are corresponding with us down the road. If you have any questions for me, please let me know. Have a wonderful day.